Let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal! Go, 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 go! 6! It's beautiful! Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you along on a Friday. Of course, you can catch us a lot of different places. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushladio.com, if you're listening on the Android, the Rush Radio Show app, or on the TuneIn app, thank you so much. Don't forget to download that TuneIn app, and you can use that on your Apple CarPlay and your Android Auto and have us with you all the time. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, make sure to give this channel a subscription, like this video, and of course, follow us on our social media channels. Good morning, Ross Peterson. What's going on there, buddy?
It makes my morning every time I see Robert Downey Jr. Let's make lemonade.
Let's go to work. Let's go
to work.
And there's that face of Ben Stiller, just like, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get into character.
It's a good way to wake up. It's a good way to. I love our pre-show meetings, even though today, we talked for about 30 seconds, but we stared at each other for 30 minutes.
Because you were out making coffee. You've got Courtney there with you, so you were getting a little something before you came on the air.
No, I wasn't.
So there's a reason Ross is in a really good mood today. He just came back.
As opposed to most days.
Yeah,
as opposed to most days.
He came back. He's buckling up his pants. I'm like, man, good for you, man.
Stop it.
Good
That's
for
not
you.
true.
I just had an idea pop in my head right before we went on the air, and I think tomorrow. I have to run this by my wife because I've been here in Kearney, Nebraska since Wednesday. I've talked to my wife twice for about a total of a minute, 30 seconds each phone call. People probably think that's a little weird. We're just not big communicators like that when I'm out of town. It's like I work all day and I'm like, I'm busy. And if something was really needed, she would call me. But I have to get you the Starlink, and because you're going to Canada, and I'm going to New Orleans and Mississippi next week. So I'll be doing the July 4th show, I believe, from New Orleans, which will be interesting. Nothing says America like New Orleans. But I think I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to go to the farmers market in Des Moines while you're at a baseball game, and then after your first baseball game, we can do the handoff of the Starlink, and I can get you all.
Dude, perfect.
Yes,
perfect. Because I actually have a 2-hour. Eli plays his first game at 9, and then I'll have a 2-hour break before his second game. So that'll work out great.
Yeah. Now tomorrow's going to be a busy day. So if I get up at like 6 in the morning, and then get to Des Moines for the farmers market at like 8. Hand off the Starlink to you at 11. Go back home. And then I have to go to Red Oak, Iowa tomorrow night. Owen's got a show. He's playing he's headlining the big Red Oak, I think it's Junction Days celebration. So we're going to go watch our son. So it'll be a really long day, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. And I'm like, because I don't want to drive to Des Moines, hand off the Starlink for 5 minutes, and then
turn around and bolt.
Yeah, because that's no fun. And the Des Moines Farmers Market is one of the best, if not the best. And I can go get some more granola. I can get some bread.
Yes.
So I can stop by the Big Sky Bread booth and talk a little and have a little bit of fun. So I think that's going to be my plan tomorrow. The farmers market. So I went down a rabbit hole. Oh, let me say this. I'm in Kearney, right? I'm staying at the Hampton Inn. And yesterday I had a great day yesterday. I spent all day with the police department because we're doing some stuff for the police department in the community when it comes to a project that's coming up out here. And I'm exhausted. I'm walking in, and all of a sudden a gentleman goes, "Hey, man, listen to your show all the way here." And I'm like, you're just in the middle of nowhere. You're
in Kearney?
I'm in Kearney. And he goes, "Hey, love the show. I love you and Ross." And I'm like, "Okay, where are you from?" He goes, I'm from Grimes, and I've got the kids. We're going to Colorado, and
just made a pit stop in Kearney.
Well, they thought, they're pretty young kids, so they're like, we're going to break it up, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I get in a car and go. Like when I go to New Orleans, I go straight through just because that's what I like to do. But I don't have young kids anymore. He's like, yeah, we're just going to break it up. So he goes, we were on our way over, and I saw the Kirk Ferentz interview, and we just put the show on, and we listened to the show all the way over here. I go,
that's cool.
That's really, really cool. Kind of freaky though, because you don't expect it, right?
Yeah, especially in Kearney. I had a similar thing happen to me yesterday at Jimmy John's. I'm there, and this guy says, "Hey, are you Ross?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "My name's Blake. I'm a big listener. Love that you and Travis have started this." He goes, "Man, I almost didn't say hi because I didn't want to like fanboy on you." I was like, "No, man, I really appreciate you saying hi. Thank you."
Yeah, you may not
for a little bit.
If you see us out and about, we'll tell you something. We like the fanboy stuff. It validates us, right? It's like, oh, we're doing
okay.
The right thing.
And I don't mean this is what I've noticed. There is. I find a deficiency in this. Like I need a relationship. I need to be fed too.
Yes,
and that's why that's why this is fun, because it's me and you, right? And if it was just me sitting here talking, God, that would suck. And then what happens? I feel like this happened with one of my dear friends, the Penners. Hadn't talked to them in years, and then one day I walked into their house, and they were like, they knew everything. They knew where we'd been on vacation. They knew about the kids' lives. And I knew nothing. I knew nothing about them. I didn't get I didn't get fed at all. So when I get to meet people, that's what I really want to like Blake is from Boone. Got to know a little bit about him, his family, where he'd gone to school. He'd gone and ran track at Grandview, and then ended up at Iowa State. Yeah, so it was a fun conversation for a few minutes. He's in IT, didn't plan on that route, but ended up there. Got a 15-month-old kid, married.
That's a broad term. I'm in IT because there's so much in IT. And I see our IT team, and I'm like, I could never do that. I know nothing about computers. I mean, you and I kind of struggle sometimes here in the morning, like, oh my God, switch my speaker setting. I'm like, I don't know how to run these computers. And Owen gets so frustrated with me because if I have to troubleshoot, I'm like, son, you need to help me out. He goes, How dumb are you, Dad? Well, I'm pretty dumb.
Very dumb.
Yeah.
Very dumb. Yeah. When you say click the icon, what?
What icon are you talking about? There's a lot of icons right here, damn it. Don't you know that?
So folks, thank you to Blake that said hi to me yesterday. When people do that, I love it. Because it's a reminder to me that people are listening and then I get a moment of that. Okay, cool. Now I know Blake. And if I see him again, I get to go, oh yeah, I ran into you at Jimmy John's.
Dude from Iowa says, is it too soon to start lobbying you boys to do a show next Friday? We're doing a show next Friday. Just because it's the 4th of July, we don't take a day off. We celebrate America by doing a show.
Wait, stop.
What?
If he wants to lobby us, let him lobby us.
Yes.
Dude, we're on the fence on next Friday. We've thought about it. Had a couple conversations. It's 50-50 right now. Trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Is the pot sweet enough, I think, is the question right now.
All I know is this. When we do a show, we've learned over the course of the years that Ross Peterson, our buddy Ross Peterson, is an influencer. There is no bigger influencer in central Iowa than Ross Peterson. And
by influencer, do you mean bitcher? Do you mean there's no bigger bitcher and moaner than this guy right in front of you?
If you want to drive change within your organization, folks, Ross Peterson is the man to call. Because this guy is a mover and a shaker, and he gets things done. Let's go back a couple years ago when Ross was at the boat ramp down at, was it Grays Lake you were at?
Oh, yeah. And I tried to launch my kayak, and the kid was like, nah, this is only for, you have to rent a kayak from the city to use the kayak launch. I'm like, and then, and we found out it was just a guy who'd been given bad information. That's all that was.
But you drove change, and you made life better for
kayakers around the metro
and kayakers around the metro. I mean,
all four of us.
Ross is that big of an influencer. Well, a couple of weeks ago, Ross went to TCI with some buddies to golf, and he talked about his experience here on the Rush Radio Show. And I didn't think we were egregious. I didn't think we were mean. You just talked about your personal experience and the way your foursome felt when they golfed at TCI. And we know how good of a course TCI has been and wants to be, right?
Yeah.
It just, when you played that day, it wasn't in good shape. You sent me a video, and you're like, oh, my God, look at this tee box. And
I even said during the thing, you can see the progress. You can see what the vision is, but it's not there right now. I mean, they're filling the bunkers with new sand. The cart path, it's under construction.
So, I didn't air the dirty laundry, and it's not really dirty laundry, but the day that happened, I got a personal email from Stephen Kaler. Stephen Kaler is the general manager at TCI, and he said, hey, first of all, let me introduce myself. And I have an email trail of this, folks, so I want everybody to know that he said we were unfair to TCI. And I wrote him back, and I said, hey, I'm not going to apologize, but what I want to do, and he went kind of through a list of things that TCI has been through the last couple of years. Running a golf course is not easy. It is a business. And when you're talking 18 holes of immaculate space, over time, it's hard to keep up. So I said, hey, that was Ross's experience. You've laid out a litany of things of what you have done as a general manager. Why don't you come on the show and talk about it? I said,
I'd love that.
I said, you have an open invitation to come on the show. I have an email trail. And I never heard from Stephen Kaler again. I wrote him back. I thought I was nice. I didn't apologize for our conversation. I don't think we have to apologize for the conversation.
I don't think, did I say any, I mean, I'll have to go back and listen to it. I thought I just shared my experience and said, man, this was disappointing because I hold TCI in high esteem. It to me, like, I've never golfed Harvester, but to me, TCI and Talons of Tuscany, the private course that Allbaugh has, those are the two nicest places I'll probably ever play in my life. They are my Augusta in a way. So that's the expectation that I have, and that's where I hold TCI. I didn't feel like we were being unfair to them.
And again, it's your personal experience. And again, when you had people who were excited to go play it, you bragged it up, and they were like, I don't think I'm going to play here again. That's just something you have to deal with, and people should know about. And I guess he was upset that we didn't go to him first. It's not our obligation to go to you first. We do a radio show. We talk about our experiences. And that's what we did. But again, I
hope he does. Maybe he will want to come on at some point still. Because
as soon as we get to this, I don't know if I want him on because we'll take him and we'll talk to him. But hear me out. So then I don't hear from Stephen Kaler after we sent the email offering to come on. Then he goes to our partner at Choice Creative and calls them. And we're like, hey, I sent an email. I invited you on the show. I said, come on, tell us everything you're doing.
Now, when you say they reached out to our partners, you mean like to get us in trouble? Or I thought it was to buy advertising.
Was it to buy advertising?
I don't know.
Think so.
I don't know.
Think so.
I don't know. And again, I assume the best.
Yes,
I don't know.
That's what you do. You assume the best. I assume the worst.
Okay.
So they reached out to Choice Creative, and they said, hey, TCI called. They said, yeah, we talked about them. They weren't happy about it. Just to let everybody know, I have an email trail that says, hey, come on with us. Explain what's going on.
I'd love that.
Then, if you open up the Des Moines Register today, and if you go online to the Register's website, there in the top headlines is a puff piece about TCI bringing back the old architect, the original architect of the course, to help with the renovations and what they've done over time. And all I thought, and it's a nice little puff piece, and it makes TCI look really, really good. And all I thought was Ross Peterson made this happen. Ross Peterson. No, I do. I know. You can't convince me otherwise that you did not make this happen. You are a mover. You are a shaker. You are an influencer. You are a man amongst men. And that's why I say if you want to drive change within your organization, and change management is hard, you hire Ross Peterson, because he'll come in and give you an assessment of what you're doing. And Ross's assessment of TCI was not positive, and so they reached out to the Des Moines Register and said, "Hey." Again, I'm assuming they reached out. Maybe the Register did, but this was a counter to what the Rush Radio Show did and talked about. So, Ross, you are the man.
You're funny, dude. I love the way your brain works in such a weird way.
Again, Stephen
Your
Kaler,
brain works in such a weird way.
You have an open invitation. I'm a little disappointed you went to the Register before you could have come on with us, had a good conversation.
I'd love that. I would love it, and still could. I mean, I hope that you should reach back out to him and say, "Hey, man, we'd still love to have you on." That would be because that way we can talk about it. Well, we can say, "Hey, here's what this is how I really feel about TCI." I hate the fact that he thinks that we were being rude about it because I didn't think we were. I just thought I was sharing my experience and going, man, they're going through some tough times over there. I mean, I kind of said some of the same things I think I read in this article, which were there's changes happening there. And that's not what I was expecting at TCI. And more important, it's still real expensive to go play at a course that's under construction and there's no beverage cart driving around and it's minimal. It seemed like minimal effort for what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what I was saying.
And that's your experience. And that's what we do. We share our experiences. I'll share my experience of no matter where I go.
Yeah.
And if it's a bad experience, I'm going to share a bad experience. If it's a great experience, I'm going to share a great experience. But in the email that he sent me, he went down this litany of items that the course had been going through the last 5 years, really before he arrived. I'm like, that stuff people don't know and would explain a lot of why the course may not have been in the best shape. And the fact that he didn't write me back was a little disappointing, especially when you say, hey, and when we do interviews, everybody knows if you listen to the show on a daily basis, our interviews are 20, 25 minutes long. In the old world, we were held to like 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
I hope we really do. It's much more of a conversation than an interview.
That's fair.
Much more of a conversation. Yeah. And so, yeah, I hope, listen, I hope they come back. I hope he would come on, chat with us about what it's going to look like in the future, what their plans are, what that time frame looks like. I'd love that.
So I just want you to know what a big deal you are, to pat you on the back, and the fact it was just funny. And I sent you an email with a link today, and I said we are going to talk about this today because Ross drives change. Speaking of interviews and conversations, coming up at 6:30, Brent Bloom is going to be joining us. Brent joined us a couple months ago, and we asked him, where are you going to be on July 1st? Where are you going to be? And he kind of gave us a little hint of what was going to happen, but would not fully commit. Yesterday, Brent Bloom was named the Director of NIL Development for Cyclone Sports Properties, meaning he'll be moving from the We Will Collective to Cyclone Sports Properties, and it's kind of that NIL piece is all going in-house, which makes a lot of sense now that you can do a lot of things within the university.
You know this. Does Cyclone Sports Properties make him a employee of the university?
No, I think he would be an employee of Cyclone Sports Properties, which is Learfield.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay.
Okay. So that would be, that's what I'm assuming. What I want to talk to him about, does the We Will Collective just go away?
He addressed some of this stuff on Twitter, and we can talk to him about this.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in his mouth or paraphrase it in the wrong way. But he did address some of these things on Twitter last night. I saw, or yesterday, some people were asking, and nobody was like, well, what the hell? People were just like, hey, what about these contracts? What about these deals? What about the beers? What about, and he addressed some of that. And so, maybe he'll talk to us about what that looks like as well. Trav, this is the Learfield piece of it. I guess I didn't quite envision or see. But I've talked about this since they started the We Will Collective, and Bloom was announced as the head of that what I assumed was happening and hasn't ended up happening quite the way I thought the pieces were going to shake. I thought that they were setting these things up to eventually just fold into the university. I thought that Brad Heinrichs and Brent Bloom would just kind of eventually meld into.
Well, guess who I got a text from last night?
Brad
Heinrichs. So, and he goes, hey, I just want to let you know. And out of the blue, I was sitting in a cigar bar. I was drinking a bourbon and smoking a cigar, because when you're by yourself, you're like, what do you do? So I called the deputy sheriff and deputy sergeant, and I said, hey, he told me about this cigar bar. So we were down smoking a cigar, having a bourbon, and my phone buzzes, and I'm like, oh, who's that? And it was Heinrichs. He goes, hey, I just want to let you know that I'm glad Kirk didn't, badmouth me on the interview. And he goes, nice interview, by the way. And I followed up. I said, hey, we're having Brent Bloom on tomorrow from the We Will Collective. And, he's folding into Cyclone Sports Properties. What's going to happen with the Swarm? And he didn't tell me I couldn't share this, so I'm going to share it. He goes, I don't know yet. He goes, but one thing that I can promise you is I won't be on anybody else's payroll. Meaning that, yeah, if he were to, he's not going to work for somebody else.
Listen, and here's the shame. Brad Heinrichs that's a character, man. That's a guy that, because he really was out of the limelight, out of the scene. Most people in Hawkeye sports world didn't know that name 5 years ago. And in 5 years, I think that we probably will go, what was that dude's name? Having the opportunity to be around him in person down in Florida when we went down there for the bowl game, and the times we've had a chance to chat with him, that dude, that was a character. That's
he's
a fun,
the real
deal. Yeah.
And as Kirk Ferentz said yesterday, if you didn't hear the interview with Kirk Ferentz, or our conversation, as we like to call it, you can find the full conversation on our YouTube channel. But he praised Brad, and he even kind of said, Brad's he's a different cat. He's a different cat, and he goes, he's an actuary. But I thought that was funny when Brad said, I'm not going to be on anybody else's payroll. So if somebody else wants to do this, they can. Brad just stepped forward when nobody else was stepping forward to help to help Iowa athletics. Now, and Brent's done the same thing with the Cyclones, in the fact that there needed to be something. There needed to be a collective. We Will was formed. Swarm was formed. And now, are they on the level of, what Texas A&M has done? Hell, BYU has a collective that's just insane. No, but you're talking about two gentlemen that stepped up to help their respective universities in a time of uncertain times and the wild, wild west. And come July 1st, a lot of that is going to change, and we'll hear more about that from Brent Bloom coming up at 6:30. And then at 7:30 today, Wade Peterson. Any relation, by the way? Any relation to Wade Peterson? Do you know? Are you related to Wade at all?
Don't think so. No, probably. I mean, somewhere along the line. Yeah.
Wade from the Iowa Fireworks Farm is going to be joining us. And, of course, it's now legal to blow off fireworks on July 3rd and July 4th in all Iowa towns. And, of course, he runs the Iowa Fireworks Farm. So he's going to join us from the warehouse and talk about the bumper crop of boomers that he has at dirt cheap prices, Ross. So it's the final weekend before the 4th of July. Don't forget to go to therushradio.com, go to the promotions tab, and sign up for a $50 gift certificate. And this is really, you're running out of time to get registered for The Godfather, which is a $700 assortment of fireworks from the Iowa Fireworks Farm. Again, that's therushradio.com. This was interesting, Ross. I got up this morning, and you ever go down a rabbit hole? It's not really a rabbit hole, but I turned
every day.
I turned on HBO just to watch a little TV, and I got stuck in the Temple Grandin movie. I was like, I don't know why. I'm like, oh my God, I got to watch it. I started watching Temple Grandin. Brilliant. You've talked about it.
The HBO movie, the one with Claire Danes.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
She's
the cow whisperer.
Yeah, man. There's a lot happening and she's still alive. Temple Grandin is still around. She still does speaking events. Really fascinating lady. She's on the spectrum. And I don't want to say like extremely autistic, but she is. And she's got some gifts, man. She's got some gifts that are hard to explain and will sound crazy when I say them. Like when Travis says she's the cow whisperer, she can communicate with livestock. Not like talk to them, but she can feel their feelings
vibrations.
and their emotions. And she has revolutionized the cattle industry in her time on this planet. Revolutionized it. If you grew up on a cow farm or a farm with cows, you wouldn't recognize a lot of the curvatures and architecture and designs that exist on a cow farm today, all because of this autistic woman who at one point people thought was, we had other words for people like this, right? She at one point would have been called the R word.
Yes.
And it turns out she's insanely brilliant. Just a fun lady. Dude, I've talked about her a lot because another one of her things is how we manipulate language. And this is a big thing in politics. If you can call abortion health care, it's a lot easier to talk about, right?
Yeah.
And Temple Grandin is the one that says, hey, quit calling slaughterhouses processing plants. They're slaughterhouses. Just call them that.
And call it what it is.
Call it what it is. And if people don't like it, then they don't like it. And that's okay. They don't like that. We call it a slaughterhouse, but that's what's happening there. And you lie to people when you start saying things like, oh, we're going to have a processing plant in our community.
It sounds more humane.
Yeah. We're just going to soften the word. So anyway, Temple Grandin, brilliant lady. I'm glad you watched that. It's a fun movie. Her hug machine that she made. Anybody that's been around autistic kids knows that a lot of autistic kids, they like that tight squeeze. There's something comforting about that tight squeeze. She made in college her own machine that would hug her. She could lay in it and pull a lever, and this leather strap would basically wrap around her like a hug.
Yeah, and I went down that rabbit hole because I've heard you talk about her before, and I'm like, I think that's why I got mesmerized by it. And then you see, and it's a movie, so I'm sure a little bit's over dramatized, but just the way the cowboys and the men treated her, because they know better. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Brent Bloom from now Cyclone Sports Properties will be joining us.
Still of the We Will
Collective,
but soon to be from the
yeah.
Okay.
All
right, we got it.
We'll get clarification when we come back on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Brennan Santone here with Willis Cadillac. It is officially summer. Behind me I have a beautiful CT5 Blackwing with over 600 horsepower and drift metallic. It is available on our show floor. We also have EV Conquest on all of our EV models. We do have some lease loyalty just for owning a 2012 or newer Cadillac as well. And also we have gotten several new CT4s and 5s in. Come check out this summer what we got going on over our Clive location, or check us out at williscadillac.com.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Looking for the perfect golf escape? Experience links-style golf right here in Ames at Coldwater Golf Links. With rolling fairways, large greens, and unique routing, it's golf the way it's meant to be played. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll love our course's welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. Grab your clubs, book a tee time, and make every round unforgettable. Coldwater Golf Links, where great golf leads to great memories. Visit coldwatergolf.com to book your round today.
Summer's here, and that means extra miles on your car. With road trips, summer activities, and more, stop in now and get a vehicle inspection to make sure your Land Rover is in the best shape possible. We'll even throw in $25 off an oil change. Give us a call or head online at LandRoverDesMoines.com to schedule your appointment today.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you here. I'm Travis Justice, and he is Des Moines and Central Iowa's top influencer, Ross Peterson. Nobody influences change more than Ross Peterson. You know, a couple months ago when Brent Bloom was on with us, we asked him where he'd be on July 1st when the House settlement kicked in, and he wouldn't fully commit to like an in-house position with Iowa State until yesterday when he goes on Facebook and Twitter and says, hey, everybody, my job's changing. I got a career change. And he's now joining Cyclone Sports Properties as the Director of NIL Development, and he joins us now on the Rush Radio Show. Did you know Ross was Central Iowa's biggest influencer?
Stop it.
I've known that for 25 years.
See? See?
How you been, buddy?
Good to talk to you guys again.
How have the last couple weeks been? Has it been crazy? Is it settling down?
It's settling down a little bit, honestly. I mean, we kind of knew this was the way it was going to go. When I talked with you guys a couple months ago, I had an idea. I had to pass a background check though, so I couldn't fully.
Like how? Okay, how big of a background check? I mean, it was like we run our employees through a background check, and but it's pretty basic. It's like a one source thing. I mean, did the FBI come in and like go they anal probe you?
I haven't been in the corporate world in a little bit, so this was through Learfield, not Iowa State. I think that's one thing. I am a Learfield employee now. I'm not a state employee.
Okay.
So some people ask, "Hey, are you employed by the?" No. And now, you guys know this, that Learfield and Iowa State are all kind of symbiotic here. But technically, I'm a Learfield employee, so I had to go through the whole corporate Learfield process and make sure I checked all those boxes.
So no prior arrests? No.
I mean, they didn't find them, guys.
It wasn't too deep. Well, I'm glad you said that, Bloom, because that was one of the things that I was a little bit confused about. And I even asked Travis that in the opening segment. Like, I'm just a little bit confused about what Cyclone Sports Properties is, whose umbrella they fall under, how that relationship works between Learfield and Iowa State. So
let me explain it the best. And Brent, you tell me if I'm wrong. This is a way to have it look like Iowa State runs it, but doesn't have the overhead.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, think about it. They basically, what I would say is have an external sales force for Iowa State, but it's all through Learfield. So if people don't know, Learfield's at almost every school in the country. They're at Drake, UNI, Iowa, all of the in-state schools. And it's basically the way back in the day when John Walters was just a young pup, these college departments would have actual sales teams to go work with the corporations, go work with everybody. And in the mid-90s, early 2000s, they decided to outsource that to Learfield, essentially. And so Learfield goes out and sells on behalf of Iowa State. Iowa State has approval of who they hire, don't get me wrong. But then Learfield also controls the Cyclone Radio Network, the Hawkeye Radio Network. They're the ones that's part of the process too. So again, they are very connected. They're technically separate, but it's all going the same direction now.
Okay.
So does the We Will Collective go away?
It will by the end of the year. So we're a 501c3, and so we have to literally see the rest of this year out for, to honor tax purposes for people, because we still are a tax-deductible organization. And so this gives us 6 months to essentially wind down. So I know the next question is, well, what do we do with people who are donating? So we're going to send out messages here the next couple of weeks. Right now, you don't have to do anything. Any money we make through the collective is going to go straight to this new We Will fund through Iowa State now. So we're going to do it automatically. Now, ultimately, we know there's going to be some transition here, and people who are with us right now as monthly donors may not necessarily sign up over at Iowa State. And so we're trying to give them time to kind of wind through all these things, but it will shut off at the end of the year. And so we'll send out communication to all of our donors, and it will say, hey, this is changing. Please go sign up with this new We Will fund through Iowa State. At the end of the year, your donation will be shut off, and you will no longer contribute here to the collective. And the collective on our end will go away at the end of the year. Now, we'll obviously have some scenario planning just in case something breaks in regards to the NCAA and this House settlement and everything else. We have a couple exit plans just in case, but that's the plan for now. Is the collective will go away as of the end of the year, and everything will be run through either Iowa State, the athletic department itself, and or this Learfield property, which will be in charge of the quote unquote actual NIL.
Trav, you got a quick? Okay,
No, go ahead.
So 501c3. There's some tax implications to donating to a 501c3. Do those same things apply now under this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so the new We Will fund through Iowa State will be through the foundation, not the athletic department. Again, a lot of technicalities here that
it's a shell game, but it's what the Scouts like that happen.
So it's been 6-9 months we've been working on all these things. But so now it's going to have the same branding. It's going to be We Will still. It's just going to essentially your check's going to be deposited in a different place. Okay. And now it's going to be through the Iowa State Foundation going forward. Good news that donations to that fund will also give you athletic club points too. So that's
nice.
going to be the carrot, honestly, to get people to transition over there and make the effort to sign up over with Iowa State. And again, we're going to share all these details in the next couple of weeks. You don't have to do anything now. You don't need to come tell me, hey, I want to cancel my subscription. Now, I'll do it if you ask me to, but please wait until you get all of the communication so we can set it up the right way and make sure that we're the data aggregates the right way too. And that's part of my job over the next several months as well.
Okay, so I do have a curious question about, because NIL can be a very broad term now that the universities can directly pay student athletes. Will what you're doing be for sponsorship above and beyond that goes through Deloitte, or will what you're doing help cover that $20.5 million gap?
Short answer, both, depending on the situation. The way Iowa State's going to handle it, a little bit different than a lot of other schools, is first priority is covering that 20.5, Travis. And so essentially, starting July 1, all these Iowa State athletes that are receiving compensation sign over paperwork that says Iowa State now has access to my NIL rights in exchange for me signing this document that allows me to get paid through the university. And so now we'll be able to use their quote-unquote NIL rights with corporations through Learfield. I'm trying to put all the pieces together here.
Learfield's got a monopoly is what I'm starting to learn.
Yeah.
Well, and they
have for a while.
But they pay for it. I mean, quite candidly.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to speak ill of my new employer.
No, and we don't mean to either. But I mean, they've done a great job of cornering that market in broadcasting.
And there's other groups trying to get into this multimedia rights space, but they're just kind of the grand poobah here, and they have so many technicals throughout all of college athletics. It's really, really smart. But you're not wrong. So they essentially now we'll be able to go to Again, like I shared a couple months ago, go to a Hy-Vee and say, all right, Hy-Vee, now you have access to any number of Iowa State athletes as part of your marketing. And those athletes, depending on what the deal is, will not get any extra because they're already getting paid by Iowa State. Now, there are some situations, depending on how much more is generated through these corporate partnerships, where the athlete may get something. But first priority for Iowa State right now is to have this Learfield corporate arrangement fill that bucket up of that $20.5 million in year number one, along with donations, along with all the other revenue sources.
So I need clarification on this. So you're telling me a student athlete signs over their NIL rights. If Willis Auto goes and says, "Hey, we just want Rocco Becht and we want to do a deal by ourselves," he can't do that because of the agreement.
This is where it gets confusing again. So I'm glad you guys have no radio breaks here. He can still do that. It's just if you want access to the Iowa State mark and the logo, and the facility, that has to run through the official entity, which is what I will be doing with Learfield. Love this merch, do all those things. It just cannot have the Iowa State logo on it.
This reminds me, remember the old days, I forget who it was, he used to do the chunky soup commercials. You'd be like, he'd be in a uniform, but you're like, you're not wearing your uniform. And that's
we kids remember you would get the honeycomb cereal and the post baseball cards. Don Mattingly would just be wearing a navy blue cap.
Yes. But and that's it. So that'll still be allowed. And Rocco will have a lot of those opportunities. So we're not limiting them. But if you want to use the Iowa State branding, it has to now run through Learfield, and that's what Learfield's paying for, essentially. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, though, is all of those deals, those potential Willis Automotive deal with Rocco, that now has to go through the clearinghouse to get approved.
Deloitte.
You know, as Brad Heinrichs pointed out, have you ever met Brad? You guys would get along really well. Brad's
I've messaged with Brad a couple of times, and I've heard that from multiple people. We just sit down and hash it out sometime, have a beer.
I tried to put the two of you together.
No, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
But he pointed out we had him. He got on with us from he was vacationing in Peru. He just got done doing Machu Picchu, and he's like,
Brad, we can connect in Peru if you want.
But he mentioned that the language in the house settlement went from fair market value to some other thing. So it's almost, he goes, it's almost like they said, okay, let's get rid of fair market value, and we're just going to rubber stamp everything that goes through.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, because I talked to a colleague who works in the Big 12 this week, and Big 12 schools have already submitted a bunch of deals, and 80% of them have already been denied. So
what?
Yeah. So again, I'm getting conflicting things. Is it going to be a rubber stamp, or is there going to be actual meat? There was a school, and this source would know, tried to make an athlete the lead face of their collective, and we're going to pay him $1 million. And Deloitte said, no, that's not legit NIL. Now, that is a really extreme example of why somebody would even submit that is beyond me, because that would obviously be turned down. But I do think we're all learning, guys, of like how rubber stamp is this going to be, and then so that's the game. That's what everyone's trying to do now. Like I was talking to somebody else with a women's basketball program down in the SEC, and they're basically their revenue share is going to be $1 million for their women's basketball team, but their extra NIL is promised at $3 million more. So that's how these teams are going to get around it now. Is they're going to try and find those legit NIL, and that's where hopefully we can come in with the Learfield piece and above, is to generate more than that 20.5. But again, Iowa State's first priority is number one, get to that number, as we've talked about in the past.
Wow, that's I can't.
There's a lot there.
Because
I know
this kicks in July 1st.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw the other day, Missouri, I think this year has already spent like $41 million on NIL. Are you trying to get as many deals done now before July 1st, or is there not that big of a pool of money?
No, the problem is post-settlement, anything you submit now has to still go through the clearinghouse.
I was wondering when you said that 80% of those that had been submitted already, that was my first thought was, wait, I didn't think you had to submit till July 1st.
Anything that goes through right now that's not affiliated with you through revenue share, okay, so has to go through this clearinghouse already, and that's why they're already getting turned down.
So the judge who waited till the end, almost the 11th hour or the 12th hour to she gave everybody a long time to get those deals.
Wow. That's why the collective thing went nuts, or the portal thing went nuts April 7th, was because everyone's trying to jam in all these deals by then, and so they actually had more time than they realized. But you're out of time now. Any deal you submit now is subject to the clearinghouse and potentially could get negated.
Has Iowa State been turned down for a deal yet?
No, because we're thankfully haven't had a clearinghouse deal that would be over and above the cap yet, quite frankly.
Oh, okay.
So that's the advantage of not being over the cap yet. Now, that will change starting July 1, and then all these things will have to be improved through the clearinghouse then.
Man.
Yeah, it's fun to keep track of, let me tell you. So, no, it's been interesting. And I would say just to fans in general, like, this has been, I know the announcement was yesterday. We've been working on this for 9 months, trying to put all these pieces together. And we still are scenario planning, trying to understand, okay, where could this go? How does Iowa State stay competitive in this world while still maintaining what makes Iowa State unique? But so what I would say to fans is keep donating. Donate to Iowa State. Buy your tickets. Get your parking. Keep buying Ames Lager, by the way. So I know that's another question that people have, like, what happens to the We Will pizzas and the Ames Lagers? And they will exist the same way. It's just the check will be deposited in this new account instead of the previous account. That's as simple as it is. Yeah.
I was probably misunderstanding that last night as well, Bloom, kind of following what some of because you were responding to people on Twitter last night with some of these questions, and I kind of interpreted some of that to mean that maybe at the end of the year those things ended, but they just transition over to a different bank account. Is
Correct.
essentially
That's
how
all it is.
I love the way you're phrasing that. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a bank account difference. So for the user, please keep drinking if you could.
I like what you said in the fact that you are already looking forward, and this is being the last thing you want to be in today's landscape is reactive, because if you're reactive, you're behind. You've already said that you guys are being proactive and saying we have to look 3-4 years ahead, because you brought up Deloitte's already turned down 80% of some of the deals, because if that continues, these conferences, these schools are going to say, we don't like this deal, and we're going to change this, because and the money's only going to go up. We're at, 20.5 this year, probably going to go to, 21, 22, maybe 23 next year. I mean, what'd they say? In like 8 years, it's going to be over $30 million. So that salary cap, and that's what we're going to call it because that's what it is, is going to grow. So if it makes it tougher, there will be change to make it easier.
Yeah, I think I totally understand where you're going with that. So far, everyone's saying the right things, but we'll see when these things start getting turned down and they go, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I don't trust
nobody.
I don't trust the people with all the money to say, hey, we don't want any more money. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So, but that's why we're planning. I mean, literally, you have to be like a year ahead in this thing, because that's the only way you can kind of understand where it's going. It's what's the old Wayne Gretzky quote, right? Like skate to where
you think the puck's going to be.
I mean, we've been trying to do it at Iowa State for the last really 18 months, preparing for. We knew this day would come, but you just don't know what lawsuit could change it in a matter of literally hours, where you're back to square one again.
Oh, and there will be lawsuits.
Oh yeah, there will be lawsuits.
I'm surprised I haven't been on one of these 80% that's been denied already. Maybe there's one brewing.
It could.
Yeah.
It could, absolutely.
Probably one brewing.
There will be, like, it's like this is just, because you're planning for July 1. That was the magic day, because that, no matter what, the players were going to start getting compensated from schools July 1, regardless of the House settlement, by the way. But now this puts in the salary cap for now.
Now, when you started the We Will Collective, you had to do a lot of stuff on your own. Probably the nice thing here is that you have some corporate support, and you have a team. So you have two other team members. What would their roles be, and how easy does, not easy, but easier does that make your life?
Yeah, it's going to be nice not to have to go to the mailbox every day. I mean, well, I guess I do it for the next 6 months at least. No, so they're great. So part of a Learfield team now, which is awesome. So this NIL team at Iowa State, one of the folks on there, Mary Kate Walling, who go Scarlets, right?
Yeah,
Ross?
dude, I was going to ask you, who's the most intense person you've ever worked with? Because I'm just going to warn you, Walling is going to be up.
I love the Wallings.
Oh, they're amazing.
So I've been working with Mary Kay for a little bit now, and I've got multiple invites to the Grandview Golf Course from Mr. Walling. He's the best.
John is Coach Walling's amazing,
Walling's
dude. Bloom, did I ever send you the podcast about him?
I think I listened to it on my own.
NPR has a podcast called Heavyweights.
Okay. Yep.
And they have an episode that's about Coach John Walling, and how he hugged a student who had lost his mom. And that hug changed that kid's life. John Walling's an amazing guy. That's Mary Kate's dad, and Rory's sister that we're talking about.
Yep. So anyway, so Mary
happy
Kate
for
is
this.
awesome. So she just graduated from her master's from Iowa State. She's in the content world. So essentially now, as we're doing all this NIL agreements, you need content to put it out there, just like you guys have with your program here. So you need somebody to actually the skills to film it, produce it, do all the legwork with the athletes and the corporations to make it work. And then the third member of our team is essentially the brains behind the operation, the coordinator, logistics, because you got to schedule these athletes now, make sure they're in the right place at the right time, work with the companies, make sure they're fulfilling all the contractual needs. So there's a lot of legwork that happens. Deals don't just happen. Like, they have to go through all these hoops and things, and that's what this team will do. But our goal at the end of the day is to help Iowa State remain competitive, either by generating revenue, which is the baseline, but then strategically finding the right deals for the right players too. And obviously we'll have priorities of who we want to find deals for, the quarterback, the star men's basketball player, the star women's basketball player, and then finding the right companies. And what I would just tell companies, I've had some great conversations already with some folks. What would happen if Des Moines and Central Iowa got an NBA team? How excited would the corporations in Des Moines be about that? Man,
they'd be excited, but would they pay for it? Because it's expensive to keep those teams afloat.
It is, but follow me here. College football is the second most popular sport in the United States. And so if you want to support, quote-unquote, professional sports, and how excited would you be if you had this huge attraction in town? Well, we have it. And we have it at Iowa State, and we'll have it over at Iowa City, too, at Iowa. And I'll throw Drake and UNI in the same mix. Like, we need, at this point in our state, because these are professional sports, that type of investment from these companies. And I know they might think, oh, it's NIL, I don't believe in it. Disregard the NIL thing. Invest in the schools and in these athletic programs that bring so much to our state and the quality of life. And that's, don't think of it as, hey, I'm paying the quarterback $1 million, which you need a good quarterback, by the way. But think of it as you need to invest in these areas that do so much for us. And just like if the NBA were to come to town, how exciting would that be for corporate partnerships? That's exactly what we have to do with our in-state schools.
Ross, does that make you cringe a little bit? Because I know you hate going to the well a little. I mean, because the backs of fans are
doesn't make me cringe. It's the nature of the beast, and it's the way this thing's moving. Dude. We had a great conversation with Jamie Pollard. We asked him about that magic wand. How would you fix this? And his answer was, you have to go back. It's not set up to be fixed. It's set up to evolve this way. And so you got to go backwards in order to fix it all. The only thing that, Travis, the one thing that makes me, that I keep waiting for in this conversation, which is never, ever, ever, ever going to happen, is a bubble pop on these salaries.
Yeah.
Kirby Smart's making $13 million to coach a football team. His coaching staff collectively makes over $30 million. That at some point that's got to stop. And instead of continuing to go to the community and saying, hey, and I get it. Again, it's the nature of the beast. You got to go to the community right now and go, guys, we got to fuel this machine. We got to fuel it. But at some point in time, it is unsustainable, and the only way to reel it back in is for people to take major salary cuts, and that's not going to happen.
Well, and I think that part will lessen over time. You can't just take a coach isn't going to take a $2 million pay cut tomorrow.
Right, exactly. And shouldn't. They've earned that. They've earned it under that system.
Kind of.
Thank you.
But what's going to happen is these coaching staffs will slowly, you maybe don't have 20 different GAs. You can't fire somebody now. Okay, I mean, that's the hard part. But maybe you don't travel as much. Maybe on the basketball side, you take a bus instead of a charter plane. Like, there are ways that this will filter through eventually, and all these programs will save costs. I saw yesterday South Carolina is throwing a $350 student fee on all their students.
Yes.
And it's like, that's the SEC. Like, what are we doing here? So
Kirk Ferentz brought that up with us yesterday. He talked about that $300 fee.
That is something Iowa State just, I don't think could ever do. And I mean, that is not part of the planning.
I would say it's not on the plan. That's what I would say, because
you
once
don't know, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know where this is all going. And back to Travis' point, these SEC schools, they're not going to like being capped, and so they're going to try and keep pushing. But then again, you have South Carolina saying, hey, we can't do it. So it's got to stop somewhere. I agree. It's just not going to be dramatic, Ross, but I do think you'll see – you won't see as many trips and crazy expenditures as you may have had when you didn't have to pay the players.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask you an off-the-wall question. We've seen coaches switch schools. We've seen players go through the transfer portal. This NIL stuff, it takes a unique skill set. You're really good at what you do. Has any other school ever reached out to you and said, hey, we like what you're doing at Iowa State?
This dude bleeds Cardinal. Are you kidding me?
I know that. But when you make a name for yourself, people recognize that. And has anybody ever reached out to you from a different school and said, we like what you're doing. Would you come do that for us?
No, that'd be very kind of you, Travis. No, nobody has done that.
Really? I assumed somebody had, Bloom. I thought they had.
No, I mean, it's I've had a couple corporations say, hey, if the whole NIL thing doesn't work out, you can come work for us.
And
that's
do your magic here. Yeah.
But no, it's been, well, you guys know me outside of my family. I love Iowa State. Like, I'm not going going to go anywhere. But it is, yeah, it's competitive. And you've got some of these NIL people in my world now that are going to be highly coveted and making a lot of money. I mean, just like athletic directors jump around, I don't think I'm on the same page as an athletic director. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of these senior teams now, the NIL person will have a seat at the executive table with, the VPs for the athletic department. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a position going forward that is very valued in the college sports landscape. And again, thank you for the compliment. Just literally, you guys know me. I'm just trying to keep I love Iowa State. I grew up going to Iowa State when nobody else did. And so the fact that Iowa State's gotten this far, I don't want to see Iowa State fall back to the 90s when I was a kid. I mean, that's really my simple motivation.
And the reason I asked it, and you may know him, you may not, a friend of mine, Aaron Babcock. So he was at Nebraska. He ran like the Hail Varsity magazine. I mean, he bled scarlet and cream like you do for Iowa State. He went to work for Learfield at Nebraska, and all of a sudden he goes, "I'm going to Alabama," and I'm like, "You went to Alabama?" So he went to work. But Greg Byrne is the athletic director. So there was a relationship there with Greg Byrne and Bill Byrne. But then he packs up and goes to Oregon State. I'm like, that just shows you that people, no matter how faithful you are to an institution, if better opportunities come about, or at least maybe financial or just something, you kind of go, I'll listen to that.
Yeah, I always say I will always listen. I will always listen. But no, it's been honestly, the last 3 years have been super stressful, but best part of my career, just with all of the changes and everything, to keep Iowa State kind of afloat. Thanks to all of the fans for doing it, all they've supported. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been super meaningful, and so very proud of what the collective's done. And the collective's not technically going away; it's just going to transition into this new era that's unified and can help Iowa State even further.
If I was really mean, I'd drag this past 7 o'clock, but I'm not going to. We'd bring up the NBA and the NBA draft. No, I won't do that.
Bloom, I real quick, I do want to say, from the last couple times we talked, I just am picking up that you seem like you're in a little bit of a better place. Do you have some clarity? I mean, is that what I was picking up on before was just uncertainty?
No, uncertainty, but then also, like, we were up against it fundraising-wise there for a little bit. I'm going to be quite honest with everybody. And I'm sure the Hawk fans might clip this and say, "Hey, what do we?" But no, when we promised, we have those commitments that we had to live up to with the basketball and the football transfer portal in April, and it was all right. Now go raise the money, and it wasn't a small sum of money. So, but we raised the money. So when I talked to you last time, I'm like, man, I don't want to end up in the Des Moines Register of like, hey, no, we're good. So that was part of it. But then also just clarity in general of like, okay, now there's going to be some rules in place. Yeah, they're going to change. But 2 months ago, this thing wasn't sustainable. So it's nice to now have some ground rules of it. At least give me a target to shoot at.
You're saying that Learfield can make up the gap if there's a gap there?
I don't know if Learfield would or could, but we had some amazing donors step up to the plate in the last 2 months.
Good.
I'll put it that way.
All right, buddy. Have a good
Bloom,
weekend.
thanks so
We
much,
appreciate
bud.
the time, man.
Happy for you. Congratulations.
Holler anytime. I know this is a changing world, so always happy to jump on with you guys.
Hey,
Thanks, buddy.
On X, send me your cell phone number because I got a question for you. I'll call you later on today. All right. Thanks, Brent. Talk to you later. Brent Bloom joining us from now Cyclone Sports Properties. Good stuff from him.
You don't have Bloom's number?
I don't.
I'll send it to you.
Well, it's weird how, in the world of DMs, how you can just communicate that way. And it's like, true. It's just that's the way we communicate.
I'm really glad we did that because I like I've known Bloom since he was in high school. Or just out of high school, I think, when I first met him. I've always liked that guy. And considered him a friend, and I was worried the last time we talked to him. I was picking up on some stress, and I thought, oh, no, man, what's going on with my buddy? And today, to see his face and to hear him talk again, it was like, there he is. That's Bloom. He looks excited about this again. And, yeah, there's a weight off his shoulders.
Namaste.
And how nice of him to be candid with us about that. Say, hey, man, I noticed some stress last time. Yeah, dude, we were up against it. We got pushed against the ropes.
Because they made deals that were promised, and we've seen it at UNLV and other schools. You don't pay.
What a great line. I didn't want to end up in the register.
I didn't want to tell them. Well, a lot of people may not have seen it then. But it's I'm joking.
That's a good. Thanks for that was awesome. Thanks for setting that up. Glad Bloom did that with us.
All right, we'll take a break. We got an hour in the books. We got an hour to go at 7:30. Wade Peterson from the Iowa Fireworks Farm going to join us. We'll talk some boomers and a bumper crop of boomers at dirt cheap prices, but also other talk coming up in hour number 2 on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hey everybody, Mason Miller, sales manager out here at Willis Infinity. We have some great stuff going on this month. Right now you can get $4,000 off a brand new QX80, 2.9% out to 60 months. On top of that, QX60s are doing 1.9 clear out to 60 months, 2.9 at 72, and even an incentivized rate at 4.9 at 84 months. For more information, come see us in our showroom or visit us online at willisinfinity.com.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Are you thinking about buying a home this year? Start by getting pre-approved with Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines to see how much you can qualify for and what loan programs meet your needs. Gary can get you pre-approved in 30 minutes or less with a pre-approval letter to you. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA loans along with FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Summer's here, and that can mean extra miles on your car. With road trips, summer activities, and more. Your Volvo will endure extra strain. Stop in now and get a vehicle inspection to make sure your Volvo is in the best shape possible. We'll even throw in $25 off an oil change. Give us a call or head online to willisvolvocars.com to get scheduled today.
Bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Happy Friday, everybody. Good to have you along. We're off to a good start. We got an hour in the books. We got an hour to go. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com, thank you so much. We're making it easier for you to listen on your mobile devices. Of course, we have an Android app. Just go to the Play Store, search The Rush with Travis and Ross. You can download our app right there. If you want to use your Android Auto, your Apple CarPlay, download the TuneIn app. It is absolutely free. Sounds amazing. And we can be right there in your car as soon as you plug in or connect to your Bluetooth. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, thank you so much. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. Start leaving your comments in the comment section. Getting worried about you there, Ross. I was like, where the hell's my buddy at? You went in and got another one, didn't you?
Stop it. I just went to the bathroom.
No, you went in and got another one. Ross has been an active guy.
Kids are here. Stop it.
He has no juice left. He's running out of juice in the last hour.
You're not appropriate.
I'm not appropriate. I've never been appropriate. Have you ever known me to be an appropriate person?
Never once.
No.
Never once. No.
No. I just say what comes into my stupid brain, and it just comes out that way, and I make no apologies for it. Make zero apologies for it. Last night, the LA Sparks beat the Indiana Fever 85-75. Ross, Caitlin Clark misses another game. She's got a groin injury, and obviously detrimental to the team because she provides a spark. And even if she's not scoring, her ability to pass the basketball is amazing. But she, for a girl and a woman who's never missed a college game, didn't miss a game last year in the WNBA. She's now missed 6 games this year. She missed 5 in a row, and then comes back and then plays a couple, and then they did an MRI, found a little groin injury. I think Stephanie White was kind of taken aback by it. They held her out. They play again tonight at Dallas. She's kind of day to day, but man, it shows you no matter how good you are, you're not immune to injury. And just think about how much basketball she's played over the last several years. And last year was, even though she had the long break, she played that entire college season, then went straight to the WNBA season. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I mean, the fact that she went through that entire stretch last year, played all, and again, she was a kid. She's 22 years old. But the fact that she went that entire stretch with none of those injuries and now has a few of these things, that we all hope that these don't linger, is going to have a major impact on everything because she's the story. She's the needle.
Even when Caitlin Clark was in uniform, I'm going to go back the last 4 games since she's returned. They are 1-4 during that time, right? The fourth quarter has been absolutely disastrous for the Indiana Fever. I think in all those games, I may be wrong on one because I just don't have the box score. I think they were leading in all those games going into the fourth quarter. Last night, they were outscored in the fourth quarter 35-17. If you go the last 4 games, in the fourth quarter, they've been outscored 127-74.
Wow.
Those are big numbers. So they're competitive and almost in charge those first 3 quarters. Kelsey Plum last night, she went crazy in the fourth quarter. Teams, it's just like they're not there in the fourth quarter. They don't know how to finish. And that's with Caitlin Clark on the court, and that's without her on the court. It's kind of been a theme those last 4 games. Again, 35-17 last night, 127-74 over the last 4, and you're 1-4 in that stretch.
Dude from Iowa, one of our listeners' comments says, first game with McDonald in full-time. It's going to take a few games to get Caitlin back, and they'll still be in the championship hunt. All that true? Some of it is true.
I don't know if I'm going to fall for the championship hunt. I don't.
Okay.
They're 7-8. They're 7-8 right now. There's just something that's not quite there when I watch this team. We keep saying it's just going to take time. It's going to take time. Listen, you're 15 games into the season. I know there's been ups and downs, but you've got the Liberty that are a really good team. You've got the Lynx that are a really good team. Atlanta's much better. And you don't want to fall any farther down the playoff, seeding thing to where you don't want to play New York in the first round because that's a best of 3 series, and you don't want to be playing New York in the first round. I think we've been through this too much to just assume that things are going to get better. You want to believe they're going to get better, but it's just one of those things where I'm not going to sit there and say, the Fever are going to be competing for a championship. It would be good for them. They're playing for the Commissioner's Cup, which that's that in-season tournament, and they'll play the Minnesota Lynx on July 1st. It means absolutely nothing. Not to them, I'm sure it does. But they just need a healthy Caitlin Clark, and they need a Caitlin Clark that is playing like Caitlin Clark has shown us many times. That's the key right there. She's in a tremendous shooting slump. They're at Dallas tonight, and I'll credit Paige Beckers because tonight's supposed to be that Paige Beckers-Caitlin Clark matchup, right? And they asked Paige Beckers yesterday about Caitlin Clark and her shooting slump, and Paige Beckers came to her defense and said, you know what? The expectations that people put on Caitlin Clark are inhumane because I don't think anybody else in the WNBA has the expectations that Caitlin Clark does. Nobody. I would say you go all sports.
Yeah, I was going to say few athletes on the planet walk into a game with the type of expectation that Caitlin Clark does. Very few. I mean, Travis, I think you got to go back a few years to LeBron being dominant, or when we all thought Tiger was just going to win every tournament. That's the last time that we went into a competition with that sort of expectation on an individual. That's a fair thing. And Travis, it does. Part of this conversation is, we have said over and over, the magic of Caitlin Clark is she always delivers. How do you get to this point where everybody in the world is wearing your jersey and knows about you and following your story? And it's because you always deliver.
And when you always deliver, your expectation to deliver
is always there. And so when you don't, or when you're injured, or these things happen that haven't happened before, like you miss games or you miss shots.
Yeah, 1 of 23 in her last, three games?
I wonder what the impact is going to be on the big. Well, has she reached that kind of Donald Trump era where she could do anything and people are still going to follow her? You know what I mean? Is Caitlin at that point where she could have a month of bad games, and the minute she's back on the court, everybody's going to be tuned in? That could be.
Say, yeah. But I like the word that Paige Becker's used, and that's inhumane, because we can't even imagine the pressure.
I think I'll be honest, that word's a little bit strong. It's unhuman.
Well,
we're asking her to do things that aren't normal, but inhumane.
Well, I think what they're saying is just all the chatter and the expectations that people have of you, and if you don't live up to them, you've let people down. Well, that's not fair to a human being, right? It's just it's not fair. But she did say she's never seen anybody handle that kind of pressure with the grace that she does. And this isn't praise on Caitlin Clark. We've said this since she really came onto the scene in that big way, that she's handled it all perfectly. That doesn't mean silently you're like, God, how do I deal with this? Because you can have a public face and you can have a private face.
We all project. We all put ourselves in those shoes and go, man, that'd be a lot of stress for me. So it's got to be a lot of stress for her. I will say, dude, I think there is something to being built different.
But let's look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had this. What did he have? He liked to gamble. Had a little gambling problem, right?
Yeah. Everybody's got a pressure valve.
Let's look at Tiger Woods. He prepped up. What was his problem? Women. Pills.
But it doesn't happen with everybody.
No, I'm just saying, but when you build people up, and I'm not saying it's going to happen with Caleb, but I think that is somewhat of the pressure on the backside. You need to, what's my release valve? You use the word valve. I like that. It's where can I privately or just get rid of the steam that I have to?
This is one of the things I've always given credit to LeBron for. I mean, you hate the guy, love the guy, not the GOAT. However you feel about LeBron, the dude has stayed out of trouble. Whatever that pressure valve is for him, we don't know about it. Whatever that release he has that is in that vein that you're talking about, I do think, again, talking about Caitlin and the pressure that she's feeling, from my vantage point, she's thriving on it. And she has her whole life.
It's a drug.
Yeah, that as people go, oh, the expectations are rising. She goes, watch this. Oh, everybody wants to watch me do it. Come on. I don't know, Trav. I think that's projection is what I'll leave it at that. I think that we look at it and we go, man, how would I feel if the world were watching me and I'd had this slow shooting streak here for a while. Ugh. It'd bother me. I don't think she's wired like we are. I know she's not. I know she's not.
So it'd be interesting to see. She was listed day to day. We'll see if she plays tonight against Dallas. I know that would be a big matchup with Paige Beckers. So I mean, people want to see stars. They want to see them go to head to head. They want to be entertained. So we'll see if that happens. But again, it doesn't matter because we've seen it with Caitlin Clark in the lineup. If the Fever can't finish games, and you got to finish in the fourth quarter, and 127-74 in the last 4 games. That's a wide gap, and the reason the Fever have lost games. Hey, did you see Barry Bonds is going to get a statue?
I didn't know that till you put that in the rundown.
Yes.
Good.
The owner was on a podcast. He goes, I don't know. He goes, he's the next one. He goes, we don't have a date. He goes, but it's going to happen. I think what you do here is you may not have a date. You can say we don't have a date, but what he did was like plant the seed to let you know it's coming.
It's called floating the balloon.
Yes.
Yep.
And you're going to get the reaction. And they've waited long enough. If they would have done this right after he retired,
it would have been bad.
Would have been bad.
I probably would have been one of the ones screaming about, you can't honor this guy.
Yeah.
He's one of the greatest if not the greatest hitter of all time. There's in my mind, we talked about Tiger when he was dominant. We've talked about Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson would knock dudes out in 19 seconds and whatnot. Barry Bonds, during that stretch of time, is right there with it. You could not throw a ball past the guy.
And I don't think steroids had it. Now, it went farther maybe because of steroids. He
was amazing.
Yes.
And I don't know that I'll see a run like that in baseball again, where the dude it's ridiculous. They intentionally walked him with the bases loaded. The stories are unreal when you stack up his stats of how many times he would swing and miss. Barry Bonds was special. I absolutely deserving of a statue, deserving of being in the Hall of Fame.
Did you see who the other statues were outside of Oracle Park?
You put it on the list. You put it on the rundown, right?
I did.
Willie McCovey.
Yes.
Willie Mays.
Yes.
Will Clark.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm not. I'm kidding. Who are the other ones on there?
Juan Marichal.
Okay.
Orlando Cepeda.
Okay.
And this one surprised me. Gaylord Perry.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is surprising.
Yeah.
Didn't Gaylord Perry play for every team?
That's what I thought. I was surprised to see that.
I thought that he was also the guy that went, maybe I'm wrong about this. Isn't he the guy that went into the Hall of Fame with the multi-teams?
He might have been, because
I'm going to pull it up here, see if I can find. Maybe we're thinking of, because he had a brother that pitched too.
They were both knuckleballers, right?
Gaylord Perry, oh my God, dude. Holy cow. Gaylord Perry played 22 years in the majors. 10 of those years for San Francisco. 4 for Cleveland, 4 for Texas, 2 for San Diego, 2 for Seattle, 1 for Atlanta, 1 for Kansas City, and 1 for the Yankees. In his 22 years in baseball, pitching until he was 44 years old.
So he had Nolan Ryan and the knuckleball didn't hurt him, right? The knuckleball keeps you can extend your career. How long did he play for the Giants?
10 years, it says.
Okay.
Yeah. First 10 years of his career, and then he moved around a little bit. Shipped him around the league.
We got somebody who can throw a knuckleball. Get Gaylord.
Travis, I am surprised by that. I mean, in his time with San Francisco, he never won a Cy Young. He led the league in wins one time.
Is Gaylord Perry in the Hall of Fame?
Yes. I thought he was, because again, I thought he was the guy that went in with I thought he went in under multiple teams.
But by the way, if you're a Hall of Famer, Ross, that's a good reason to put a statue of you, right?
Yes, that's a good point.
I would say that most and you go, okay, Gaylord Perry was with the Giants the longest. You're questioning now whether he's in the Hall of Fame.
No, he's in. He was put in 1991 by the Baseball Writers Association. 77%.
Okay.
He was put in with Rod Carew and Fergie Jenkins.
Pretty good. That's a pretty good class right there.
Ironically enough, Orlando Cepeda did not make the Hall of Fame that year. God.
Other baseball news. Wander Franco guilty. You don't remember this?
Oh, I do remember this, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gross.
It's gross on a number of different levels.
Yes.
First of all, Wander Franco was with a 14-year-old girl, and he was found guilty. The other gross part about it is the girl's mom was pimping her out. and traffic said girl. So Wander Franco was back in the Dominican, found guilty. The prosecution wanted 5 years. The judge gave him a 2-year suspended sentence. So that he's not going back to jail, which you kind of go, are you doing that because of star power? I mean, the prosecution wanted 5. You're giving him time served, a suspend, and his rule is you can't contact a minor for sexual purposes. It should be you can't contact a minor, period. Right? I mean, it'd be like
that does seem like a dumb thing to put in a judgment of, hey, just so we're all clear, you can't go and break the law again. Oh, okay. I thought that applied to everybody.
Now, the girl's mom got 10 years.
Yes.
And she should. And should have, like, parental rights stripped away because the damage she did to that girl is, you can't even measure it. But here's the deal. So Franco got a 2-year suspended sentence. He's currently, on the inactive list for Major League Baseball? He may never get back to the United States because you know what you need? You need a visa. And under today's climate, you're not going to get a visa.
This guy was never coming back to Major League Baseball. This guy was never coming back to Major League Baseball.
And because if Major League Baseball has blackballed Trevor Bauer.
Trevor Bauer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, was lied about. I mean, it's been.
Yep.
You don't have to like his rough sex ways.
False allegations, though, of
false allegations,
rape.
and people still don't want to touch him.
Yep.
And it's been proven to be false. The woman lied, and they're like, "Yeah, we want nothing to do that." Here's a guy who's been found guilty. You're right. One of the brightest young stars in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
And he's not coming back.
I'm okay forgetting the name Wander Franco.
Yeah.
Total dirtball. Total. That's it. It's there's so many gross layers to that, man.
Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, your top 2 vote getters for the All-Star game. Are you surprised? So those 2 are automatically in the All-Star game. So now we do a thing of revoting for the next thing, which is bizarre to me. And they start over from 0. Are you surprised that Aaron Judge got the most votes?
Yeah, I saw that. Aaron Judge was in the 4 million range, and Ohtani was. Do you have the numbers in front of you?
Yeah, I got 4 million, 12,983. Shohei Ohtani had 3,967,668.
So it was very close. I mean, you're 100,000 votes apart, something like that, right?
No, like 250, 300,000 votes.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I am surprised. I thought Ohtani was hands down the most famous player in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, Eli's got an Aaron Judge poster in his room. I will say, Travis, every team's got a 99. You know what I mean? When you go to the Little League, when I go watch Eli's very last USSSA tournament this weekend. My God, is that hard to say? There will be a lot of kids wearing number 99, and I assume that's because of Aaron Judge. Yep.
I don't even know, like the jerseys at 14 and under or 16 and under even went to 99. Usually, when I ordered uniforms, it was like 1 through 20. Just pick your one, And the fat kids always got, and the fat kids always got the higher number. If you were wearing number 1, that was the small.
But you were also, if you were number one didn't always go to the smallest kid. It always went to the fastest kid.
Oh.
Did you never notice that?
I never noticed that. Is that? Yeah. But maybe that's because at that age they're also the
smallest.
The smallest.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah, I would. Do you think that's a New York, LA thing? Do you think that's because?
Oh, that could be, Trav.
And let's divide the country in half. So you've got. Not saying that Bostonians would vote for Aaron Judge, but I don't think they're stupid either. But you've got a lot of big cities on the Eastern Seaboard, right? And
I mean, you're really talking about national brands there with the Yankees and Dodgers both. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know whether to attribute that to geography, brand. I do know it's indicative of star power, and I am surprised that I really would have assumed it would be flipped, that you'd have Shohei Ohtani with 500,000 votes more. than anybody else in baseball.
Yeah,
so, as a Yankee fan, I love it.
I was kind of shocked by that too, just because of what Ohtani does. And both have delivered this year. I mean, both are having really good seasons, but Ohtani's just this dynamic athlete that you sit there and go, man, you can hit, you can play the field, you can pitch, you're back on the mound, you're doing all this. And I was kind of surprised too. So one other story I want to get to before we take a break and bring on Wade Peterson from the Iowa Fireworks Farm. Justin Tucker gets a 10-week ban from the National Football League. And he's still saying this is wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. So early on in his career, this is more of a going back in time, not recent. They're saying like from 2010 to 2016, something like that, that 16 massage therapists.
Oh, Trav froze on us. No way. I lost you there for a second. Yeah, you're starting to freeze and cut out. I think your hotel Wi-Fi is starting to get
the hotel Wi-Fi is a little freaky. Okay, it's that hotel Wi-Fi. But now I'm back. And that's the first time what happened. Everybody's starting to wake up and they're getting on the house Wi-Fi. But he was accused of inappropriate behavior by a massage therapist. NFL's done its investigation, but he didn't go to court. He didn't do anything like that. He hasn't been found guilty of anything. But the NFL did its investigation, and they found that you have to sit out 10 games. What is it with NFL players and massage therapists? I don't quite understand that.
Like, I could guess. You want me to guess on it?
Sure.
So let's just think about it out loud for a minute. Like, they've got the medical facilities. There has to be a team massage therapist. There's got to be. There's got to be a way to get a massage when you're an NFL player that doesn't involve this. So they're seeking it out. They're seeking it out. And both the Deshaun Watson and Justin Tucker stories are very similar in a lot of the MO, right? That modus operandi is very similar between what these women are saying, how it worked, what the situation was, how they revealed themselves and what they asked for. It's very similar. So Travis, what is here's my guess on it, dude. Kind of like some people have foot fetish. This is a fetish. And there's a certain percentage of us guys walking around out there that this is kind of the thing. This is what they like. And
bizarre.
These Deshaun Watson and Justin Tucker just happen to be names that we know and faces that are recognizable even 15 years later. Dude, I guess I my gut says it's what they want. That they're seeking it out because it's some sort of weird thrill. They like that vibration.
He can participate in training camp. He can participate in preseason games, but he just has to sit out the first 10 weeks of the season, which means, when you're a kicker, you're probably not getting invited till they actually need a kicker in like week 10. They're like, bring this guy in.
When we got to start winning games, we're bringing Tucker back.
Yes. All right, we come back. Wade Peterson from the Iowa Fireworks Farm is going to be joining us. It's the weekend. It's the last weekend before the 4th of July. No better time to stock up on your fireworks than this weekend when you have some time to do it. Wade Peterson next on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vents, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
The Royal Mile, where everyone's a wee bit British. The Royal Mile is downtown Des Moines' living room with classic pub favourites. Pair them with a glass of whiskey or an expertly poured Guinness. It's bloody brilliant. The Royal Mile, a proper British pub.
There's always something new at Fong's Pizza. The patio is open and ready for you, your friends, and an ever-changing menu of tiki drinks. Or try our new noodle dishes alongside your favorite slice. It's all happening this summer at the new Fong's in the East Village.
Thinking about buying a home? Get pre-approved in 30 minutes with Gary Presnell at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA, FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
So, you're driving along the road and minding your own business when a thought pops into your head.
When's the last time I had my alignment checked?
You know it's important. Poor alignment can impact your tire wear, your grip on the road, and even your gas mileage. But just as your mind starts to ache and the sweat starts to pool around your lower back, you remember, I service my car at Willis Cadillac in Clive, Iowa, and they check the alignment for free with the purchase of any service. And the serenity of that thought frees you once again. Give us a call or head online to williscadillac.com to schedule your appointment today.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
The best bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Of course, for the last several weeks, we've been talking about the Iowa Fireworks Farm, where they got a bumper crop of boomers at dirt cheap prices. And, your chance to win a $50 gift certificate, your chance to win the Godfather. And this is the last weekend, full weekend, before the 4th of July coming up. And we thought, what a better time than to talk to Wade Peterson, who runs that Iowa Fireworks Farm. Wade, good morning, sir. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing well. I'm always shocked when I see myself on video screen. I've got a face for radio. I wasn't excited when you guys switched to a video platform.
Welcome to the club, by the way,
builds
Wade.
more of a relationship. That's how's business been? Been good?
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. I thought, kind of tomorrow would be the start of our busy season. Well, it started last weekend, and it hasn't really let up throughout the week. So it's, on the one hand, I want to, when you're dead tired and you want to complain about being so busy, but these are the days you dream about when you started this business, 6 years ago, or dreamt about starting it 20 years ago.
Have things changed with the? Are you seeing more business because of the change in the legislation? You think?
I think we're seeing some of that.
Okay.
I think that's what we're going to see this next week, because a lot of the people that may not have done fireworks because it was illegal. I think those are kind of the last minute shoppers. Not to say that a week out is last minute, but we'll start seeing those probably this coming week.
So the legislation is it's legal in all towns on July 3rd and 4th, correct?
Yep.
So does that include, remember when they first became legal and Des Moines said, after that first year, we're not going to do this anymore. Does Des Moines now they have to allow it? Like the city statute is null and void?
Yeah, no city can opt out of this new state legislation. So it's legal everywhere. There's certain times you can, on the 3rd of July, you can only shoot up until 10 p.m., 4th of July up till 11 p.m. So, just because you can do it doesn't mean that everybody should do it or, can do the biggest, baddest stuff. That's one of the things that we ask people, where are you shooting these? How big of an area do you have?
Yeah.
And
you have some,
they probably lie to you. They'll I got 3 acres, and they got
I'm
like
in a giant
driveway.
open field. It's all concrete. There's nothing that can burn for 19 miles. It's perfect.
Yeah. So yeah,
I'm going to light them off in the parking lot. You do have some big stuff, Wade. We should talk about that. Like you have, first of all, an amazing selection of products, but you've got some really big stuff too, right?
Yeah, we've got the biggest allowed by law that you can buy in the U.S. So we've got the 60-gram mortars, reloadables, whatever you want to call them, that we're seeing here. Largest selection of those in the United States. We've got over 130 different ones of those to choose from. We claim to have the largest selection. Nobody has proved us otherwise. 130 shell kits is a lot to choose from. And then the 500-gram cakes, we've got a ton of 500-gram cakes, including the rabbit hole, which I bought just because of the rush.
That's awesome. There it is, the rabbit hole.
Oh yeah. Hold on. I got to remove that, then bring this in. Sorry. And Wade sent these on a vertical, but it translated to 16 by 9. So I apologize for that. Oh, he's got the rabbit hole right here. Let me bring him up.
There it is. I saw it.
I've got the rabbit hole with me too.
So how big of how long of a display is that?
The rabbit hole is about 40 seconds, I believe.
That's a pretty good display.
Yeah, I mean, on average, the 500-gram cakes, which for people that aren't familiar, that's you light one fuse and the box goes off. Looks like somebody needs some sparklers there with you, Ross.
Yeah, exactly. I got a sparkler user here, no doubt about it.
And they'll last anywhere from 20 seconds to, we've got some that go 3 minutes plus. So
how much does that cost?
Those are, I think the cheapest one of those 2-3 minute ones is $56 on up to about $90.
What's the most expensive? So what's the most expensive cake you have?
The most expensive cake is right at $180, I believe. Now we've got the Godfather assortment that we're giving away. That one is $700. Then we've got one assortment that's a little bit bigger than that. It's $1,000. But there's a lot of stuff in those.
You know, what I like about the Iowa Fireworks Farm, and you know I live in Omaha, right? So they don't get as much time to sell as you do, but they don't have a facility like yours. It's just circus tents where they have to be guarded all the time. You are in a controlled climate, and I think that matters with all the stuff that you have. It's just it's kind of like going, you're the Costco of fireworks.
I'm shooting to get there. Yeah, and speaking of Omaha, we had 3 customers from the Omaha area yesterday that made the drive over to the farm and purchased their fireworks. Yeah, we've been building this for 5-6 years now, and it just gets a little bit bigger every year, and we jam a few more things into the store because I'm just like a fireworks shopper. There's always something new that you want to add.
So do you can't sell year round, but do you just keep the inventory year round? Is that what the way it is?
Yep. Yeah, we've got. It's not a bad thing in my mind to carry over. People say you must want to sell out every year. I want people to walk into the store on the 3rd or 4th of July and have it look almost as good as it did on the 1st of June when they walked in. I want the best selection in the state the whole time we can sell.
That's really cool. That's also one of the things that's a benefit of being in business. You're locally owned. These other things that we're talking about that are kind of fly by nights, man, you don't know what. Yeah, I shouldn't besmirch them, but it's worth the drive down to help out a locally owned and operated. Travis asked if we were related. I don't believe we are. You do look like you're one of my uncles. Now are you related to James Peterson? Because you'd be in the area down there. Young man that was a great baseball player for Winterset?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I don't know if all of us Swedes are related at some point.
We are somewhere, brother. Promise you that. Yeah, exactly.
So what's your number one seller? You mentioned sparklers. I mean, are sparklers still big? I'm a Roman candle guy because I like driving around and hold them in
driving around? Wait.
Sorry.
No,
so, I didn't say that.
Everyone that buys Roman candles, we will say, you're not supposed to hold these in your hand. And yep, right. Oh, no, we don't. We stick them in a bucket of sand. Number one seller is, cake-wise, it's a cake called Infraction. It's 54 shots in 30 seconds. A lot of people use it as their finale. We sell more of that cake than any other cake. Actually, one of our big sellers is it's called Poop, and it looks like a poop emoji, and some smoke comes out of it, and then a black snake comes out of it, so it looks like its name. No kid can walk by that without grabbing that and needing a poop. But yes,
I was trying to explain to Travis, Wade, the other day about how the snake has evolved.
Yeah,
the snake is now they've done some magical things with the snake for the kids.
Yep.
Wade, I don't know if you heard my analogy the other day, because I know you listen to the show. And I tried to say, the experience of somebody with fireworks, because if you're a true novice, you start with the book of matches and you try to light a fuse. And then you're like, okay, they give me these punks, I'm going to use the punk. Then you realize the punk is worthless. And then you go to the grill lighter. And then you go to the torch. You get the torch, and then when you're all invested, you've got the electronic system that just does it automatically for you. Is that a good way to say the evolution of somebody who's a pyromaniac?
That's the evolution. I heard you talking about that the other day, and we don't sell torches or matches. We do give away punks here. It didn't feel right selling torches or anything that you could light with in a fireworks store.
Smart.
We do sell the electronic ignition systems. They're called Ignite, and they pair to your phone, so your phone becomes your remote to launch your show. I can't believe how many of those we sell every year.
Really?
What's that system cost?
We've got two different sizes. One's $200 and one is $330.
So can anything in your store be put on that electronic system?
Pretty much. If it's got a fuse, it can get put on that electronic system. So yeah, pretty much everything.
Wow.
I had no idea it was that easy. I've been to a few private shows, Wade, where the rumor circulates amongst the group it's all being done via remote. And I've always thought to myself, man, I just assumed that was a whole different beast. That's really cool.
No, it's gotten real consumer friendly in the last few years.
So, we're going to upsell here. The more you buy, the cheaper stuff gets, right?
Yep. We've, going with the farm theme, and I had the fireworks farm in mind and the bumper crop of boomers in mind well before fireworks were legal in Iowa, just waiting for the day that they became legal. But so we've got the co-op club program, which it's nothing you have to sign up for. But basically, once you hit $300, you start getting free stuff. So, $300 to $500, you get a free cake. Over $500, then we start letting you pick out. You check out and pay. Then we say, okay, here's your free stuff. Go pick it out. You've got $100 to spend, or however much to spend. And I love surprising people with that. If they're first-time customers and don't know about that, they get, really? We get free stuff too? So that's the co-op club. And once you cross that $3,000 threshold, and it's amazing how many people cross that.
You're going to the back room. We're going to the back room. I watched this. I forget, it was a documentary about a guitar shop in Los Angeles. And it's as soon as you reached a certain level of customer, you got invited to the back room where these really rare, unique guitars are. So if you reach that $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 mark, you're like, come with me.
There's not much space for a back room here at this store. We've got room for a couple restrooms and then a little bit of a break room where we've got a fridge. But once you hit that $3,000 mark here, you just start save big money at the farm, to borrow a phrase. There we've got the best prices in the state. We continually hear, but you hit the $3,000 mark and we just knock 30% off of all of those prices. And boy, people fill up trailers and pickup trucks and SUVs, and it's fun to help them shop.
Go ahead, Trav, because I was going to ask.
Were you a pyromaniac before the farm? And when do you get to have? Yeah, he's like, yeah, because it makes you feel like a man. There's nothing more that makes you feel like a man than blowing stuff up. And when do you get to have fun? Do you have, hey everybody, come over to the farm because at 10:30 on July 4th, we're going to be doing our own display. When do you get to have fun with your toys?
So we're typically too busy during most of the selling season, which is also the legal season to shoot it off. So we don't do a big display typically, we do a lot of little displays because we call it the pyro pasture. We've got 8 acres around the
pyro pasture,
the store here. So we've got room to be the legal distance from the store, and we get new products in, got to try them out, see how they work. So, and to answer your first part of that question, I've been a pyro ever since I was old enough to be playing with matches. I grew up on a ranch in western South Dakota, had to entertain myself. Fireworks were not as available as they are in Missouri, but they were available in South Dakota. So I've been playing with fireworks since I was 5-6 years old.
So something tells me if you grew up in South Dakota and they got a groundhog problem up there, you had fun with groundhog holes.
Look at him.
I don't want to steal any business from the critter control guys.
From bats and bugs, right?
Corey's like, no!
But there are some folks that come in and ask, what's the biggest smoke thing you got? I got a woodchuck that is living under my barn or something like that.
Travis and I were trying to figure out what that fascination is with smoke bombs too, because we both are in that category. We both love a simple smoke bomb. To just stand there with your beer in hand and go, look at it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Plus smoke.
Maybe something in the not fully evolved man brain or what. But yeah, and back to the electronic firing systems. There's guys. Oh, I don't want that. I want the rush of lighting that fuse with my torch and then running away. So there's guys that will never use those electronic firing systems because they want to light that.
That actually I know that sounds dumb. When you say it, it sounds dumb, but I get it. I there's part of me that's like, yeah, that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
How do I know I did fireworks if I don't have little burns on my thumbs and fingers?
Right.
This may be an off the wall question because we're after the normal consumer, but during the summer months, towns will put on, like when they have their festivals, they'll have their fireworks displays and stuff like that. Is there a provision for you when they get a license to do so to sell outside that legal season to like people who do professional shows?
Most of the professional shows that they're shooting bigger stuff than I sell. So a lot of them, have their providers in place. We do a couple of small town shows after the season. And basically I encourage those folks and they've been real good about doing it. Come in and buy when we're open. Just makes it more simple for everybody.
So you know what you need? You need a lobbyist to let you sell bigger stuff.
Yeah, and believe me, we get that question. I mean, you should almost have a fireworks bingo card, for who's going to walk in the door and ask for either M80s or where do you keep the good stuff, or
where do you keep the good stuff?
We know you have more.
I feel like a drug dealer sometimes because there's I'm not kidding. There's guys from Des Moines that I've seen. We've been open since June 1st. I've seen them 10 times, and they come in the door almost itching like. I need my fix. What you got on sale today? What's the special? And I love those guys. I mean,
Wade in Des Moines, we call those East Siders.
There are a few from the East Side, but all areas of Des Moines have been represented.
So, how did you end up from South Dakota to Iowa? How'd that happen?
Oh, we've been in Iowa for 26 years now. Man. That's where life took us. My wife's job brought us to Des Moines, and we built a house out where Jordan Creek Mall was, just not even a thought in anybody's head yet. Then we're a gravel road partway to our house, and still live in that house, and raised a family in Iowa, and have grown to love it. So
now I know what my wife would do, and I don't know what your significant other would do, Ross. But if I went to my wife and said, "Hey, we're going to start a fireworks farm," and then when you have to stock it, you go, "What's the investment here?" You're like, "Oh, trust me, this is going to work. We're spending how much to stock the farm?" And then you're like, "Trust me, it'll work." Did you have to twist some arms, or did she say, "No, let's do this"?
She knew it was a dream, and she knew I was a pyro from the day she met me 30-some years ago. But it helps that she's as addicted to horses as I am to fireworks. Horses aren't cheap either.
Yeah, right.
So there's some give and take there. But yeah, she's been tremendously supportive, and And my 3 kids, they've all helped in the store. We've got another great family friend, him and all his kids, help with the store. And it truly is family owned, operated. And I've heard you guys talk about it before, and it may sound odd to say with the fireworks business, we're building a community, and it's not like strangers walking in the door here. I'd say so far this year, 80% of our customers have been return customers, and they're on their 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th year shopping with us.
And return customers can be 10 times in 1 year.
Yeah,
exactly.
Twice in a week.
Well, Wade, I tell you, you mentioned the community and building relationships like that, and I know you in our former life, you were on with us, and when we started this little venture, you reached out to, I think, me via email, and you said, "Hey, how can I be a part of that?" And we appreciate that. I mean,
big time
that you believe in us and believe in what we're doing here, and that really, and hopefully people are coming in and saying, "Hey, we're hearing about you on the Rush," because that's the validation we need. We need that pat on the back. So you can even lie to us and say, "Yeah, everybody that comes in says the Rush."
One of the gift card winners was already in. I think I took a picture of him with his stuff, so I'll get that to you guys. You can put I believe it was Greg, one of the first winners. You can put his picture on next week if you want to.
Yeah, I think we got one more.
Surprise! Our other winners are procrastinators.
Yes,
just like most fireworks shoppers are.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm getting a lot of emails. "Hey, where's my gift card?" I said, "You have to go down there and say, 'Hey, I won on the Rush.' They have your name." They're like, "Oh, okay." But I bet it's going to be either this weekend or probably the 4th of July. They're going to walk in, or 3rd of July, walk in and say, "Hey, I won this." But you're right; they are procrastinators. So, what are the hours? So just so people know, and will it change as we head into this 4th of July week?
It'll get a little bit longer every day. Today's Friday. Yeah, I lose track of what day it is. But Friday today, we're open 10 to 9, and then Saturday at least 9 to 9. Basically, we don't shut the lights off. We're usually here restocking till midnight, 1 o'clock. So, if a customer comes in at 11, we're going to let them in and let them shop. And then Sunday we'll be open from probably 10 until 9, and then the week leading up to the 4th, at least 9 to 9 every day. Again, staying later if we need to.
Okay.
Excellent stuff. Wade Peterson,
Thanks, Wade.
Iowa Fireworks Farm. We appreciate the time. Congratulations on another successful year. And I know you're going to be busy, so I hope you're taking your wife on a vacation after this, and you have a great 4th of July.
He probably has to buy a saddle.
That's, horse saddle. Hopefully not another horse.
Okay, how many horses do you have?
More than I care to admit. Right around 30.
Whoa! So is it the Peterson riding ranch? You should just start doing pony rides around?
Yeah, we've had that thought. We've our actual farm is just 10 minutes down the road from this farm, and so the horses aren't far away. And
now it all makes sense. He didn't have to twist any arms.
No,
he didn't have to twist any arms.
30 horses.
I'm buying a fireworks farm.
Warehouse full of fireworks. Good stuff. Wade Peterson, thank you so much,
Thanks,
sir. We'll be in touch, Wade.
You bet. Glad to do it.
Thank you. Wade Peterson joining us on the Rush Radio Show. That's awesome.
30 horses, dude.
30 horses. 30 horses. Have you ever been on a horse?
I mean, it's been a long time. But it was like, you know what I mean? I've ridden a horse, but it's probably 30 years or more. Interesting. I wonder, you saw a bunch of people making comments. I wonder if he's got any cakes that reference Terry. Did you see people putting in this? If I say, back it up, Terry.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know what that is?
No.
Oh, Trav. It's one of the greatest fireworks videos of all time.
Well,
it's a viral video.
Hold on. Let's ask him. Let's bring you back on. We're going to bring you back on because you didn't go. So Ross has a question for you.
Got any cakes that are like, because one of the most viral fireworks videos of all time is the guy in the wheelchair. He's in a motorized wheelchair, Travis, and his buddies give him the lighter, and he lights the cake, and then all of a sudden his wheelchair won't move. And the cake is blowing up right next to him. It's funny because the guy doesn't get hurt, but his buddy is like, back it up, Terry. Terry, what you doing? Oh, Lord. Oh, back it up, Terry.
Put it in reverse, Terry. Back
Put it in reverse, yeah.
I've seen a cake with that on there. That I've got one called, it was Truck Yeah, that kind of looks like Terry in a motorized scooter. It doesn't say back it up or anything, but that's the closest one I have. I think there was actually some legal action by Terry when a company made that cake. But yeah, that's maybe the most viral fireworks video out there, I think. So yeah,
love it.
Now that you've talked about it, it'll probably show up in your algorithm, Travis.
It will.
Yes, you're probably right. All right,
Thanks
for
Wade.
answering that, Wade. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Bye, buddy.
Hey, Peyton Sanford did not get drafted in the first 2 rounds of the NBA draft, but he has signed a free agent contract with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, tough road, and we all know this. I mean, even getting drafted in the second round is no guarantee, and it's a tough road. But potential avenue now for him in the G League, and that would be great. That'd be great not only for Peyton Sanford, but that'd be great for the Iowa Wolves when Peyton Sanford comes to town. That does seem to draw a little bit more interest and help them out a little bit. Local boy playing professional basketball in Des Moines, that'd be cool.
And you get to go to the NBA champions, right? And
right, and again, the avenue is there for you to be on the NBA roster. Guys have done it. You can do it. He can shoot.
All right, you got big plans this weekend? What are you doing this weekend, man?
Last baseball, man. Final ride. I got all emotional on Wednesday. Coach Bigler, Eli's USSSA coach, sent out a text that said, "It's the last one. It's the last tournament." And it took me down a memory hole, and I went and found the original picture from their very first tournament that they played together as boys 5 years ago. And dude, time is amazing. It's just incredible. And I've been lucky enough to have people like you that say, "Hey, man, you need to stop and recognize this every once in a while. Just enjoy it because it's going to be gone before you know it." And
what I've tried to do is I hear parents speak all the time, and I can tell you how life's going to go, but you have to experience it for yourself, because I see people, oh my God, they're all upset, graduate. All I can say is, having 4 children and gone through this, I've enjoyed each stage of their life probably more than the previous stage. Like, here I've got a 29-year-old. Well, she's going to have a baby. I'm enjoying this part. Owen and his music, Mary and her photography, Greta and her art. It just keeps moving up. And there's state baseball going on here. And I was talking to an officer yesterday. He's like, I'm going to miss this. I go, you think you are, and you will for a short time. But then when they start doing other things, you go, oh, I don't miss that part that much because I'm enjoying this much better.
And I do notice that, Trav, and I'm glad I've got that perspective from a guy like you. This baseball thing was this is what I always look forward to. I always wanted to watch my son play baseball. And I'm going to get emotional thinking about it. It's been the greatest thing.
Sooner or later, you might get to watch a granddaughter play softball or a grandson play baseball, and you're going to enjoy that just as much.
You're right, buddy. You're right.
All right, I'm going to be at the Des Moines Farmers Market tomorrow. If you see me out and about, just come up and harass my wife. That's what you can do. Just Anjanette will be with me, and you can harass my wife. Thanks for listening this week. I hope you had a good one. We want to thank Wade for coming on, Brent Bloom for coming on, Kirk Ferentz earlier in the week. Scott McLaughlin from the IndyCar Series. A lot of good conversations this week. We hope to have more next week on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
You got me falling hard, sweet baby, got me falling hard for you. And still, I felt this way before, you know it's true. And still, you got me more and more. Oh, you got me falling hard.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vent, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
Don't you hate when you're on a road trip and you want to stop somewhere to get something to eat, but you need to take a look at the menu first? Here at Willis Nissan, we decided to implement some menus to make servicing your car easier and more efficient. Our menu offers good, better, and best packages based off of your mileage of your vehicle. And we're offering 10% off the entire menu for the month of June if you mention this ad. Feel free to make an appointment at willisnissan.com or walk on in and make sure that your car is ready for the road trips that you're going on this summer.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels. There's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.